Why is everything so expensive? I think before I sleep. Huh. Okay, this is gonna be an interesting video.
I need to know when exactly tipping became an everywhere experience. Because why am I asked to hit a tip prompt in a drive-through? I'm talking about that little screen flip in places where tipping was never the standard. And somehow now I have to be in a moral dilemma before I get my drink.
Yeah, I'm not surprised you're tipping the Starbucks drive-through. In fact, I've even been to a self-serve frozen yogurt place where I did all of the work, and when I went to the cashier, she swiveled that screen around and said, "It's going to ask you a little question."
Everywhere you go, about to flip the screen on you. You're about to get asked, would you like to leave that tip? Or better yet, they'll hit you with the, all right, it's just going to ask you a quick question on the screen real quick.
Honestly,
I find this to be like, I think it should be legal. Like most positions, like apart from like service positions in which like a waiter or if someone who actually goes at the way the job is to actually serve you as a full-time position rather than just make a sandwich behind the fucking counter and no fuck works, it's your job to make a sandwich, right? Not to like chat with me. I find this to be so overdone. It's so annoying, and it's such a nuisance thing. And it's not like if it was like a one-time thing, like a waiter, it's just like, oh, fine, I'll tip you because you had to juggle a lot of people. You're moving around a lot about. Yeah, it's a lot of like mental fortitude. Even people don't think it is. It's very taxing. I have friends who work in the field, and they said it's a very mentally taxing, but it's a job that I think everyone should get at least once before, just to understand the complexities of it as well as the juggling of it. Because I think there's like a mutual relationship that applies to it, but the fact that like, yeah, what he said before, like I got this places in which the woman just worked for 3 minutes, made me my sandwich. Thank you. She did a phenomenal job. And the tipping started not at 10%, it started at 15%. 15, 20, and 30. What the fuck? And it was a bizarre thing. Even like right here, like I like your dollar on this photo, it says one if 517 is a bill. You can add a $3 tip, which is more than 50% of the meal. And here's the funny part is that pisses me off the fucking most is the fact that there's so many places out there now that don't even have the no tipping. It was just show four options of the 1, 2, and 3 and custom. And you have to go into the custom, press 0, and then press enter just to say no thank you.
if that frozen yogurt incident wasn't several years back and the first time I encountered a cashier asking for a tip, I would have set my food down and walked out without paying, because asking to be paid extra for doing nothing is an insult to customers. Obviously, I hit no, and actually, these days, tipping prompts have gotten so annoying that I now stare them in the eyes as I hit no tip, because I'm tired of literally everything getting more expensive with no additional value added, to the extent where it seems like, since COVID, the prices of everything have doubled and tripled. I feel like every month I'm getting emailed by a streaming service telling me, hey, we've got a price update. Oh, a price update. That means you're going to lower it, right? Of course not. How else is Amazon going to subsidize 5 seasons of a ridiculously expensive show that everyone hates without increasing their prices?
I think that's also an annoying thing. These not laws, these principles also apply to practically everything. Like even the government, let's just say, like due to waste management of expenses or incompetence of just like, of like money expenses, right? They just like instead of fixing their own internal system, they just throw the problem back onto the consumers. And because it is so passive, it's not like a massive job. It's not like someone reaching to your wallet, looking dead at you in the eyes. I'm like, I'm gonna take $5 million of your bank account right now and just grab it and just walk away. It's like, okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna slowly poison you by removing $10 out of your account every day. So minute, so small, you don't really notice it, but it'll be just be cumbersome to the point you will acknowledge it, they won't do anything about it. And they'll do this not just with you, but with thousands or hundreds of thousands of people over the course of many years just to fix their problems of incompetency. And when they adjust back to their market-based values of like, okay, we're comfortable now again, they'll do the exact same fucking thing and they'll cause the exact same problems and the exact same spiral will occur. But it's so difficult to come up to make an actual self-working system. That is a true thing. Oh, as someone who had to run, who had to lead people and manage a group of people, it's extremely difficult to have a nice, smooth ship, and it's extremely easy to fuck it up. I had a problem. I had a clan that lasted for 8 months, ran very, very smoothly, and then over the course of 1 month of just massive fumbling, everything just collapsed. Well, everything just collapsed. It was like a major fuck up. It was just kind of like someone did the problem because someone started pointing fingers, and immediately things just blew up out of the air.
That being said, at some point, enough is enough. But before we get into that, Recently, a jury ordered Meta and YouTube to pay millions for their role in designing and promoting addictive platforms. They knew
I would
their
love to get
apps
into
could
this,
contribute
but
to anxiety,
I
depression, and body
live in
image
Canada,
issues,
so I
but
can't
did not share
apply
those
for this
risks
program
while
or the system.
prioritizing profits. If you or your
I had a
child
friend
spent
though who did it.
years
He got
growing
like
up on social
$19.
media and experienced serious mental health struggles, you should hear this. Morgan & Morgan is stepping up to hold these platforms accountable for the harm they caused. You can use the link in my description or scan the QR code to take a short quiz to see if you qualify for a case. You may be entitled to a potential recovery of over $1,000. All right, so tipping has gotten crazy. What was once a nice courtesy for an extra good job is now basically an expected part of every business transaction. A handful of years back, it began with tipping cashiers for merely taking your order, and now they don't even have cashiers. They want you to tip the kiosk.
We're at the airport, guys, and in these kiosks at the very end, it asks you if you want to leave a tip. Why would they ask for tips, guys? And here's the thing: this is a Whataburger, a fast food chain, in the middle of the airport. You want us to subsidize your poor pay?
Yeah, I'll wait for self-serve gasoline to start asking for tips too, as if oil isn't already expensive enough. And it's
It also happened, I think, during the exact same time period of, I think during the prime COVID, when Jeff Bezos was asking for donations to help pay for the workers to subsidize their fees. I understand that like during COVID, things can be complicated and finances are just be difficult. At the same time, though, he owned, I think, the biggest company in the world. This is before like the Elon came in the picture of like when he was booming with SpaceX and Neuralink and like all that type of stuff, right? This is before around him time, but like this is before right around that, like before that type of period, in which I thought to myself, that's the most stupidest shit ever. Just subsidize your losses, try to figure out middle grounds for everything. And at the same time, though, these people get paid relatively decent amounts. People shit talk the pays, but they're actually relatively good. They're like 23 an hour, 20 to 20 bucks an hour, and like going up from there. It's just the workload is so demanding that people just quit after like 3 to 5 months. And so, like in the ask for tippings and so forth like that, I find this to be like an incompetent and ignorant thing that, as us the consumer, we would pay a stupid fee on top of everything, and then it could be subsidized for other fees that are behind closed doors, or not even closed, actually not behind closed doors, right in front of you, that is just presented right into you, and it also puts you right in front of the peasant's decision. Like by peasantry, I mean, like, let's be honest, right? When you're a service worker, you're like a peasant to the people. You were like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. What can I do for you, sir? Oh, yes, sir. We'll get you that right away, sir. You are the king for today, right? Like let's be honest. That is a type of relationship that's currently applicable. I know because I did service for a little bit. Like, yes, sir. How can I help you? Okay, I'll get you right away. I'll tell someone. I'll figure out something we can do for you, and yada yada, right? I'm kissing their feet. So it's like when I look at these people and like when they say no, they're saying no to me rather than saying no to the establishment, and I have to take the blunt of the force. And it's not personalized, but it is personalized because I'm the one being told. It's like criticizing a company to the employee's face, and they just say, "I work here." I understand, but like my frustration is not with you; it's just with establishments.
It's not just restaurants, it's like every service now.
So I drive my dad over to pick up the car, and he comes back with the keys, and he's kind of distraught, which is not like him. He's like, I literally just paid, I don't know, $500 to have my car fixed. And then the guy swivels the screen around and is like, you want to tip 20%, 25%, 30%.
Now, I would have thought
That's
that
what happened to
making
me.
this all up, but I kid you not. I had work done on my house about a year back, and after charging me a price that seemed like extortion, the guy pulls out the iPad and says, yeah, it's just going to ask you a little question. So your local repairman is now asking for a tip. The whole point of tipping in the first place was to give a little extra for good service. You know, give the bellhop a little extra for carrying your luggage to your hotel room, which personally I think is stupid. I think employees and business owners should already be doing the best job they can because they want return business. Good service is how you create a successful company, and provided that I'm being a polite customer, I should not have to pay you extra to be nice to me. Because what tipping has turned into is this predatory anti-consumer system where you are essentially bullied into paying more than what you initially agreed to.
Tipping culture is targeting people pleasers, and it is not okay. As a people pleaser, you think that when someone shows me a pad that says 15%, 20%, 25%, they're looking at me while I press the button. I think I'm gonna hit none.
Yeah, you should hit none. I do every time. The system is so predatory that I enjoy hitting that button, And I enjoy the little maze that some of them make you go through to not tip. The ones where
You
you have
see
to
that
hit
again.
like 4 different buttons to cancel the tip instead of the one button it takes to pay extra.
You gotta press the custom option, and I press 0.00, then press enter, then ask you, are you sure you want to press? And press yes again. I got hit with the fucking, are you sure? $1 is all it needs to change someone's day. Fuck, I think this is Uber Eats. I don't want to pay for it. I was broke as it is. I was hungry. I was cranky. I was on my period or some shit. And I was like, I had to go for like minimum 10 obstacle courses just to navigate the press. Yes, submit order. And it was just some Indian guy who just came from fucking Qatar or some shit like that to come over and then like gave me my fucking food, who didn't speak English or French. And he actually, I talked into a translator, and I actually remember this now. His photo was wrong. It was a photo of a white guy, but it was like some like old Indian brown guy, and he had like a Qatar accent, and he talked me through Google Translator because my order came in like slightly damaged. The drink was slightly leaking a little bit. It wasn't much. It was kind of like it tipped over. It caused some juice to spill out on the bag, so it looked like it was damaged if you open it up together. But like, it was like the most stupidest thing. It was like, oh, you fucking kidding me?
It gives me a sense of accomplishment when I figured out that the trick is to hit custom and then type in 0.
I
Yeah.
have tipped so many times in just the last 2 days. Coffee, tip. Drive-through, tip. Went to Chipotle and you tip before you even get your food. I don't even know if my food is gonna taste good.
That
and I'm
dog is just
tipping.
side-eyeing her the entire
Yeah, that's
fucking time.
ridiculous. Though I do appreciate the cashiers who press no tip for you because they're fed up with tipping prompts. Those people are heroes.
But there are the few exceptions. I did see someone do this where they'll actively press tip on your end beforehand. It's like, okay, let me reword this. I don't think I worded it very well. Like they will, instead of pressing no tip or just like don't even answer the question, they'll literally press 15% on their end, then turn the iPad around, so it looks like there's no tipping applied. But even though they actually did apply the tipping into it, but you don't know.
More importantly, there is a reason why you hate this system, and you are morally justified for hating tipping, because psychologically what's occurring here is a lack of transparency on the price. For example, you agree to a price of $10, but somehow if you don't pay $12.50, you're a heartless bastard who doesn't care about the sad life of the employees? Why are someone else's life issues my problem? I'm just trying to get a taco, and I shouldn't have to be afraid that people will intentionally do a bad job if I don't pay an upcharge.
I think Japan was Japan who did this before. They subsidize the prices into the fees, so it's like it's applied into the reasoning. Like especially when even if you do tip, most of the time I tip you specifically. Like I have a waiter. The business when closed down, I was just saying I had a waiter named Joseph, phenomenal guy. Like, he came in every time I saw him. He was like, "Oh, how's mommy and daddy?" He's from Lebanon, and very awesome guy. I chat with him almost every time I go to this restaurant. It went out of business now. Sadly, so due to being not overrun, but owned by, I think it was bought up an Indian company or Indian family, and they just ran that smoked meat place into the ground by just by cutting corners and everything. This is my favorite place. They just, whatever. And I forgot where I was going with this. I went to this direction and moved around. Damn. What fuck it.
Then the second level of this is which jobs deserve tips and which ones don't. Movers, taxi drivers, barbers, why not tip the store clerk every time they tell you where something is? I mean, who has all this extra money where they can just drop an extra 15 to 20% on every single bill? Personally, I think we should only be tipping waiters because they're paid almost nothing because tips are expected. But also, morally, I don't think people should tip waiters either. And before people get mad, yes, I do tip the waitstaff at restaurants. However, we do have other examples in the world like Japan where people survive without this system.
Oh yeah.
At restaurants in Japan, you don't tip, you just pay for the food. And what is frequently added onto that is a table fee that is a set cost for sitting down at the restaurant. There's your answer. We don't have to tip waiters now. Just charge a table fee. And also, because waiters are sales reps, they should get a commission when they sell high-ticket items like alcohol and steak or extras like dessert. With this type of system, when you sit down to eat...
That is true, actually. I did not think about that. The amount of times, even I'll have to admit, who bought something accidentally in quotation because I was like negotiated with the waiter, or he marketed me a different price that wasn't originally there, but it was still a net positive for the company. It was like I had to say at least like 5 times. And Joseph was one of those people as well. It was actually Joseph was the funny part was, told my brother, And my brother wanted to order 2 meals. He's like, no, you're too much of a fat ass. You're only getting one. And he marketed it down. Told him, you're too fat to order. So I'm gonna help you by making you buy less food. And he did it in front of our entire friend group either. So we're all just laughing at the situation. It's the most stupidest fucking thing ever. Oh my god. If this rule applied, Joseph would have lost money. It wasn't for him.
You now know what you're consenting to without some mystery price at the end, based on how scared you are to look like a bad person. Because the bigger problem here is that if you continuously say it's okay for people to be unclear on how much they're going to charge you, you get shit like this.
I gave birth to this perfect, precious little angel in September of last year. It is April, nearly May of the next year, and I'm getting bills in the mail nearly every single week. Let's look at them. Okay, this one is a bill for $2,000. The service description literally just says vaginal birth. Here's another bill for $1,261. What's the description for? Actually, it doesn't even say. Here's another one for $336. The service description is subsequent hospital care. What does that mean? Here's another $675 charge for hospital discharge day. What service is it? You're just charging me for
a hospital discharge day? Like, what the fuck? Like, I have an idea what it means. At the same time, I guess we should celebrate those days then. Okay, what about men's discharge day? Do I have to pay a service fee for that, or that's just called a sperm bank?
discharge day? I don't know. None of it makes sense. My husband just called. He was on the phone for 20 minutes. And we got no answers. They said they could get back to us in the next 90 days.
Yeah,
90 days? Holy
2
shit.
years ago, I got injured lifting weights and had to go to the emergency room without insurance because mine was randomly canceled. And thanks to Obama, you can only sign up for medical insurance once a year. So my bill was really expensive, despite the staff basically just giving me Tylenol and telling me to go home after 3 hours. I remember signing some paper at the hospital for like $4,000, which was insane considering how little service I received. And after around 2 weeks, they just kept sending me bills until the total cost was like $8,000. When did I consent to this? In fact, if you ask, they can't even tell you how much certain treatments cost. Or they do this thing where they tell you that your bill is a certain amount, but if you complain, they'll mark it down a ton. Sydney Watson showed that recently on Twitter. So basically, they're lying to you about the price. Pro tip though, if you get injured during business hours in America, don't go to the ER. Go to your local urgent care instead, where they'll charge you like $50 to $100 for talking to you for 5 minutes instead of $5,000.
$3,968.20 per month. That's how much it'll cost me, my husband, and my 3 kids to have health insurance. A month! That does not include dental and vision. No. That is just the bare bones minimum. That is a mortgage on a very expensive home. I'm not doing that math right now.
She's also not kidding. My insurance randomly shot up 40% last year. Same service, now it's just 40% more.
I think this is like a byproduct of other reasons. I don't think it's like the insurance companies, to some extent, being like full on maliciousness to gouge every fucking dollar, but I think it is a byproduct of it. But I think it's the lack of subsidization of allocation of money efficiently distributed. By that I mean the amount of people who go to the for instance, oh no, the immigrants again, who go to the hospital, get services for certain types of treatments, and then then they just leave. I know so many friends who have their parents are immigrants who don't speak English or French or any like Western-ish language apart from their home country of India. It's always Indians. Or Indians or like East African. That's like the main area. Or like this place of Syria and like the war-torn country areas, which I don't hate the people. If I were them, I would do the exact same thing they're doing, because why wouldn't you? Because you're allowed, right? Like if you see $1 million in the ground and says do not take, but if you take it and there's no punishment for it, then like why wouldn't you take it? Like I as a biblical man, I it's a mental confliction for it, right? At the same time though, if you're fucking desperate for the money and you're broke, have nothing on you, and you're struggling, and to you, for most of the people, it sucks to say, but this is like a life or death situation for them. And if you take the $1 million, other people get hurt as a result, but because you don't see it and you don't really know these people personally at all, you just don't care. Most people are gonna take the money. That's like a byproduct of human behavior, unlike a natural side, which is like okay, it's understandable. But at the same time, these people go to the ER, go to emergency rooms, they go to the services, and they cost us thousands of dollars. And not only that, these people are also units in the system. So when you're waiting in line and it says you are patient 1135, they are a person in that system. So if these people weren't there, you'd be like 1134. So you'd be like one person shorter, and these people are not like far between. These people, like, whenever I get sick, my friends get sick, we have like a family doctor. Well, actually in Canada, that's like a luxury to have. It's like you have a better chance to win the lottery than having a family doctor, and you can subsidize those things for those sense. But most of the time, you can go to these systems to gain the basic necessity of treatments. Well, most people nowadays have to go to the ER or the hospital to get basic form of healthcare that should just be applicable to just all around. I'm saying, hey, I hit my knee, I can't walk my knee for the last 2 days, and it's been killing me. Oh, go to the ER emergency room and then wait 13 hours for your triage, which is a Quebec word for like a pre-examination before you determine the emergency of your health needs. It's like a system like that. It's stupid. And then we as a taxpayer has to subsidize these people who will never be tax positive. So I'm just paying for these useless people to be useless, and then to not only be useless, to endorse their uselessness. So it's like a circle.
It's so expensive that I've considered canceling it because it costs far more than just paying out of pocket. Even if I go to the ER, it just seems like this system is designed to kill the middle class. Because if you're poor, you get your care for free. And if you're rich, the cost doesn't matter. But if you're middle class, you're screwed.
Your effective income, even when you're making like 20,000 or like it's like 30,000, it's like closer to like 50, 60,000, right? Because you have like the medical assistance program, that's the MAP program. You have food stamps, you have other supplemental assistance, you have housing assistance, you have a phone assistance, right? The Obama phones, which is actually done by Bush, but it doesn't matter. You have all these other things like, and yeah, you save so much fucking money whenever you're broke. Mm-hmm. But then whenever you're middle class and you're not making that, like, let's say you're making $40,000 a year, those are the people that are fucking broke because they can't get food stamps, they can't get assistance, but at the same time, they also don't have the money to pay for it out of pocket either.
Now, this is where I and a lot of other people are going to differ.
The same thing else applies to Canada as well. The amount of programs that are out there for we have are substantial, and we start closing a bunch of these programs down, and or just stop funding shit in general. Even the healthcare system, like Canada and America compete for who has the shittiest healthcare systems. It's ridiculous. Actually, I even know that they pay for your phones. I'm not sure that is true or not. They gave you phones. Phones are like, I hate to say it, but they're kind of in need now. I had my phone broken about a week ago due to a clinic thing, and I couldn't access any of my fucking accounts. I couldn't access my bank accounts. I couldn't access my emails properly. I got kicked out of like one of my applications for a gaming thing, and I couldn't get access to it without having to do like 13 steps of processing of saying I forgot my key card code. I need to send it to here, and all it does is allocate me back to my phone number, saying, "Hey, we sent a code to your phone number. Please put the code in here to access your certain thing." And I couldn't let me. It wouldn't let me do that because it was the most, I guess, like most friction I ever had before. And I only got all these services back once my phone came back. And it got me really worried or anxious or paranoid, thinking if I don't have these systems, I am fucked.
I think the answer to these problems is not various social programs, but more so a coming together as a culture to vastly reduce the cost of these services to the point where people can easily afford them. You do this by exerting market pressure, which we'll talk about later, legislation.
Since President Trump has signed his executive order for hospital price transparency, only 1/3 of hospitals are in compliance. We need legislators to act to rein in these unchecked practices and to protect patients and taxpayers.
Here's something I'm very pro, and it might be, if I was government, it'd be very taxing for the people. But I think this is it'd be very taxing at first. It's kind of like a massive bill of insurance, but then kind of gets subsidized because it's just so acute to the society. But more or less, I want to read through everything. I want an entire bill receipt of every position that's applicable. I want to know how much it costs for the transportation of the pharmaceutical product to be sent over to the expected location. I want to know how much it costs to just be stored at, let's say, a particular facility for this period of time. Have it transfer over to my department, and then if you get to me, I want to know how much how much it costs for my doctor to inject that needle into me for whatever drug it is, and how much it costs to make the drug. And I want to know like all the minute micro financial decisions. And I think the finance pros are gonna love this because they'll actually be able to get a job for once, because most of them don't have jobs, or they're in this commission business and they're just like the want to be Andrew Tate psyops universe, where it's like, oh, I work my really ass hard enough, I can't become just like this and that. And their favorite fucking movie is The Wall Street, which is, I think it's a shitty movie. But yeah, whatever.
Personally, I don't think an executive order is enough, because then the next president can just overturn it.
Yeah.
It needs to be an actual law. So market pressure, legislation, and we need to get rid of all the scammers and thieves in this industry, which is something that I've talked about.
I think they should bring in the death penalty. I mean, if someone's trying to fuck you over, actively fuck you over, even though the intent, like, I think also incompetence should be punishment as well. And I'm not saying like, oops, you tripped on a rock and you stumbled into someone and the person fell and they scraped their knee and then they had to go to the hospital for whatever fucking reason. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, like, severe incompetency of, like, here's a question. I think if a principal got caught not knowing a teacher was having a relationship with the students, I think the principal should be punished, criminally indicted. I think there should be like a form of the principal has a game in the system now. I think people should have a game in the system where, like, I'm pro the idea of like multi-punishment, I guess, as a system as applied. It kind of forces you to make sure other people are in check, even if that is a very dangerous principle, and it's not, and I don't think it might work to the full extent, but that is something I'm really willing to explore. A system where if someone does something wrong, because it's not just that person is in check, but society around this person is in check. If a kid does something wrong, the parents should be checked for something. I'm like, you let your kid do this, how the fuck did you let this happen? And it's like, oh, we don't know, you can't be responsible. I'm like, yeah, you can. See, my parents know everything about me at this point. Dude, as a kid, I couldn't do anything my parents knowing. It's ridiculous. And in the times I did do something, my parents forced themselves into it and they fucking locked themselves in. If you get caught talking, if you don't know your kid is talking to a minor on your phone, you're an idiot. There's so many systems or applications you can apply. I'm like, oh, trust and transparency. I trust my children. I'm like, don't trust your children. Your children are evil monsters. Most of them are. You don't know what they're thinking most of the time. They're fucking malicious. And most of the time, oh, you're not born this way. They learn it through the society. I'm like, yes. It's nature versus nature and nurture. Both know nothing. Some trumps the other, depending on the genetics and situation of the child. But everything is just, it's not linear. Not everyone's born equally. In the spiritual sense, yes. But in the physical sense, not everyone's born equally. How do we know this? Because IQ is a thing. That's why. And even super intelligent people can be malicious and deceiving and trickstery.
About in other videos.
It's sad to think about it.
Oh,
Here
this
in the
video.
United States, we're literally being defrauded by people who are taking advantage of old people, young people in daycares, disabled people with autism clinics. Unbelievable. You have people who drive around in BMWs and make competitions, Mercedes. Meanwhile, everyday American citizens are struggling to be able to afford their own bills.
But in my opinion,
here's the thing we can do. These people who abuse the system, we take all their assets and resources. We take their family's assets and resources, depending on the situation. If it's kind of like a half brother from, and maybe you haven't talked in a decade, then I don't think that should be applicable. But more or less, if you like pick all the resources, so that so people are warned and threatened to not have this happen to them or people they know, because most people are relatively self-isk, or they do it for the family, they quote. But at the same time, if you throw the family within the bag, and within as they kick them out, there'll be more inclined saying, "Oh no, I want to help my kids, so for that reason, I won't do this." Or people will be malicious on them, or on the opposite end, and they will throw their kids in the way so they can't get hit the punishment. Like you'll see these people using the exact same principles for like ICE deportations or in criminal injustices, where it's like, oh, the kids, well, how's the kids? Oh, you're ripping kids away from the parents. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool. I don't give a shit. I'm like, do you think when you arrest like a pedophile or a trafficker or abuser, like, yeah, like an example, you arrest like a wife abuser, and this person gets sentenced to like 20 years in prison for like almost killing their wife, right, for whatever reason. The numbers are not accurate, just listen to the principle, right? You're ripping a father away from their kids and their wife. It's like that's a true narrative you can apply. But the reality is this person is dangerous for society. It's dangerous for their kids. It's dangerous for their wives. And this person, and it's just a poison around. And people who are like that are usually taxpayer negative. By that, I mean, like, how much fucking money do you think that the government had to spend to babysit this person so this person does not act out of control, even though everyone knows this person was going to act out of control. Lots of money. Like just to have a police officer just spawn in a room, like get there, it's like $50. Now you have the equipment, the police car vehicle, and all the equipment that's on this person just to be even existing, and the training they needs beforehand to even have this person to be even equipped to be on the field, field ready. Even the people who are, even many of the cops who are on the field who are field ready are not even field ready because they're fat and more fucking obese. And if you were to like any form of basic athleticism and above, you can outrun these people. But the problem is that there's like usually 20 of them around the corner. So like you have to you're playing like Subway Surfer with like 20 cops following you from all corners. But if it's a game of a game behind of like a tag, you're mostly gonna win if you were above, if you're like moderate level athlete behavior and above, which is like not common, which is not common-esque, but like because no one knows how to deal with cops because it's whatever, that's its own conversation.
Going back to what Asmongold was saying, this is all set up to kill the middle class. It seems like politicians and corporations want to make it so you only get to be independent if you're super rich and nothing costs that much to you. Otherwise, you get to be poor and dependent on government services, and you have to take whatever they give you. The point here is the removal of freedom of choice for most people, because if you shrink the middle class, then you're going to shrink the number of people who are in the financial position to say no to a bad deal. This inability for massive portions of the population to be able to say no causes prices to increase. And what makes matters worse is, trust me when I say that no one wastes more money than poor people and people with high incomes.
Yep.
Either rich people are wasting it and inflating the prices of everything for everyone else because the dollar amount doesn't matter to them, or poor people are wasting it and inflating prices because they don't know how to manage their money, or because they're too nervous to hit no tip on the iPad. All of this enables companies to continuously increase their prices, and that's how you get situations like this.
People, they want to have a special experience, and regardless of what your income level is, in some cases, a $9 experience does feel like you're splurging, and then what that means is we have to make it worthwhile, right? And then in other cases, people believe, well, this is a really affordable premium experience because they're saying like, well, it's less than $10 and I get a really premium experience. So regardless of where you're stationed in those income cohorts, we want to make that experience worth your while.
So many of these CEOs for food companies are just...
Yeah, that is the most minor fucking bite I ever seen in my entire... What? His jaw, his chin fits the nibble. Dude, if I was hungry, dude, I would fuck. I could eat that burger in like 5 bites if I try my hardest. Not even my hardest, just eating normally around. That is the most childish behavior. Also, who would pay $9 fucking for coffee? This is also in the States. That's like $14 Canadian, or like 13, like more like $12 Canadian, right? And like that's like people go to the Costco, people go to Starbucks like once or twice every day, morning and then like lunch break, right? Let's around $20 a day, $20 a day, 5 days a week, 52 weeks of the year. That's like $2,000 on just like that's like $100. That's $5,000 ish every year on just coffee alone, and then it's just the basic principles for it. Like I'm gonna shit talk white women right now, but most of I see go to Starbucks are like white women, the long like Revenant Apex Legends nails who could just stab you if you talk to them funny or differently. These people are barbaric. They're stupid. They make incompetent decisions. The reason why these companies are able to do these type of things is because you enable these people. I'm like for instance, why have these games? Why play a $9 game if you just pirate online for free? I'm not saying you should, but see, you can't. You know what I mean? Like there's so many games out there. Like I would never want to pirate. Like El Clair Obscur. I pirated that one because like I have no money for it. But at the same time, it's a beautiful game, like phenomenal. I bought Silksong day one. I was there when Steam, PlayStation, Xbox all crashed for 2 hours because everyone was trying to buy fucking Silksong. I was there. It was the most like obscure thing ever. It was so. Oh. And people want to pay for it though. And then people are willing to indulge in it, and they talk about the price. And I'm like, stop going. Buy your own fucking coffee. Or make your own coffee. It's not that hard. You can literally buy a bundle of like. I had a niche thing. Even after me, it was like a niche thing out there, and it was like a pod thing. Like you only get from Cornwall, like in Ontario. This is the closest. They didn't have in Quebec. I had to go to the small township just to access these particular type of kegel, like pads things, the little cups things that you put in a machine, and like they had all things. It was hot chocolate mints. You don't have these. It's like $100 per box for 28 of them in Quebec. We buy through Amazon, or you buy one for like $50. So it was like $1 per capsule, but I was willing to pay that type of thing because I loved it so much. And I also, the fact that I didn't indulge in it. So I bought 4 of those boxes. It took me like 7 months before I finished them. And like now like $200 and like 7 months worth of like with a hot chocolate glass every now and then, and I loved it. But like then people want to spend $10 on a fucking coffee that is like mediocrely shit. I haven't had them before, but I always hear like, oh, they're phenomenal. Yeah, look, I'm it. They can be really, really good, right? I hate coffee, but I don't drink coffee. It's its own thing. But like, the fact people are willing to indulge in this, bitch, and complain, they can continue to indulge on these awful expenses are just ridiculous. And they ask for us. These are the same people who force subsidization or heavy taxation to help pay for their incompetent decision on finances. I have shit talk my family members of mine. I have family members of mine who shit talk the prices of food, but when I ask them stop buying these foods, they get mad at me saying you don't understand the prices of food nowadays. Yeah, fine, I won't buy anything, this and that. I'm like, that's not what I'm fucking saying. I'm saying stop buying these food because you keep throwing it out and no one wants them. Yes, I understand they're good and healthy, but no one wants them.
Liars. I know he's pretending to be caring, but he talks like an asshole who's had every phrase he says thought up by a think tank. He's saying this stuff as they horrendously overcharge you for coffee. Yep. Starbucks is not a premium experience. Starbucks is fast food. There's no reason that any of their drinks should cost $9. Now, I'm not super familiar with what Starbucks charges for all their drinks because I almost never go there, but I do know they charge around $4 for their black coffee, which is insane because the coffee beans that Starbucks uses are so low quality that it probably only costs like 20 cents for them to make it black. Why would anyone pay for this on a regular basis? Why would you go here like multiple times a week? Not only do you have to drive to Starbucks and wait in line, which takes time, whereas making coffee at home takes almost no time because the machines do everything for you, but also you can buy the most premium expensive coffee at Sprouts, and it will cost maybe around $1 or $1.50 for a cup versus $4 for the low quality garbage at Starbucks. And then they want a tip.
Bitch, I'm at Miss Coldstone, girl, and bitch, I will die.
Holy shit.
On the cross, bitch, before I ever pay this much for a little bucket of ice cream. Y'all crazy.
That guy had some energy or style, let's say, but who the hell is paying for this? And Coldstone is reportedly another store that likes flipping the iPad around to ask you a little question. But $17 for a pint of ice cream? The most expensive ice cream that I've seen at the store is this ice cream here. It's like $10 for a pint, and it's made with premium ingredients. Whereas here is the stuff that goes into Coldstone ice cream. How are these companies?
What the fuck? Holy crap, that's a lot. Wow, that's a lot.
Who don't really provide an experience that's much better than just having ice cream at home, still in business after charging $28 when I can get the same size of Alden's organic ice cream for around $11 or $12. And if you buy the cheap ice cream, I think it's like $4 or $5. Well, I'll tell you why they can charge this much. It's because people keep saying yes.
Yep. That's exactly what I was saying.
Cashiers now. It's because lots of people say yes.
Barista Dylan Schenker says tips make up 10 to 20% of his pay. He is 39. He has a decade of experience and expertise. And
I've never made more than $25,000 a year. I cannot even wrap my head around the idea of even just making $30,000 or $40,000 a year.
Roughly half of Schenker's customers tip, which is in line with the national average.
50% of people are saying yes. This was from NPR, and by the way, if you're 39 and don't make a lot of money, that's not my problem as the customer.
There's just something really, really demoralizing about someone seeing that screen, knowing I'm not rich, and kind of just not caring about you enough to kind of like want to help you make a living.
Yeah, I don't care. If this job is not making you a living, then you should ask for more money from your employer or get a better job so you don't have to abuse customers like a streamer begging for subs. Now, you may think that you saying no is enough, but that doesn't matter if 50% of the people are still saying yes. If half the people say yes to a 20% tip at Starbucks, then that's like tens of millions of dollars a year, if not more. If you look at the article, they say, well, this is a way of paying our employees more without increasing prices. Yeah, because you're tricking customers into paying 20% more for their drink and then shaming them for not doing it like this 39-year-old. That's dishonest.
There's a lot of pressure to.
That's like one thing I don't understand very well is I understand people who don't want to climb ranks or move up around the world because they like where they are and they're able to understand they can sit comfortably. But then like they bitch and complain with a lack of opportunities, even though they spend the last decade of their entire life sitting at the lowest wage position possible. It's like someone complaining at like working at like Disney Resort, working as a service cashier, and they complain that they can't live on their paycheck, but they love their job. Yeah, you love their job, which is fine, but there's a love and there's a reality to it. And there's like a lot of things I love out there, but I know for sure I can't live off of it. A good principle that the vast majority of people can apply this to is playing video games. Many people love playing video games. When I was a kid, I was like, oh, when I grow up, I want to play video games. I want to test video games. They make lots of money. I'm like, yeah, they make okay money. Apparently, they make phenomenal money. Also, it's contract by contract basis rather than like a full time pay job position. There's also it's very boring looking back at it now. Imagine playing the exact same game for like 5 years straight with the exact same levels with very few minor differences, and anything you say or complain about will very unlikely get changed or get changed so fucking far into it that you just get mundane to everything else in between. And you can't even talk about the game to other people because not you'll get fired for NDAs. So it's like, okay, phenomenal. At the same time, these people just like throw themselves back into the feeding pot and they bitch and complain when no one else wants to hear the story. I know people like this. It's depressing. It's awful.
Keep prices low for increasingly frugal customers. Tipping is a way to get more money from customers without actually charging them more.
It's a subsidy. It's a wage subsidy to the employer. It's not a tip. It goes to your wage. It's just the amount that the employer doesn't have to pay you. And people don't understand this.
Not to mention the people who end up tipping because they clicked yes on accident. But all of this works on supply and demand. This may sound a little bit different from your economics course in school, but they are supplying asking you for a tip, and you create more demand for that system by clicking yes. Here's the deal. The real price of something is whatever people will pay for it.
Yep.
So if you keep saying yes to a $9 premium experience at Starbucks, then in 2 years they're going to try to see if they can get away with a $12 experience. And everything else will increase in price too because other companies will start copying Starbucks. So
back in the day, it was who can outcompete each other for the best experience. Now is who can fuck over the consumers first and see how well it takes for them to adjust to the fucking up, and then let's mitigate our quality down to that level. A good I think comparison to this is with Nintendo. Nintendo increased the prices. Well, this is Canadian value, by the way. I think it was like $90 for a digital copy, and then $100 for a physical copy. And then I think I'm seeing games now worth $90, both digital and physical. Like a few years ago, it was just like $80. I can understand like some games being $80 and $90. I want to pay for it. I think Clair Obscur should be one of those games for how phenomenal it is. But at the same time, though, like these games are not billion-dollar industries. They're mediocre, average games they pump out every fucking 2 years. And it's like the exact same thing with this, which is like new, slightly remodeled graphics. A good example you can think of is The Last of Us. Last of Us 1 was a phenomenal game. I didn't play it, but I always hear praise about it. For Last of Us 2, I hear there was hiccups for it. It was someone being gay and the main character dying. Oh, spoiler alert, by the way. Which has their own things. Then like I think 2 years later they released the game for a remastered version for the exact same price, and they made the first game what $20. I think like this like $10 cheaper. $20 cheaper, but the new version was like the exact same price for the newer console they got. Then they had a remastered version of the game, which is like, what the fuck? And all it did was just made the grass move slightly better with slightly better lighting. Like I'm not looking when I play this game, I'm not thinking about like, oh my god, look at this grass. Look. Instead of being 4 pieces of hairs, I can now see 7 pieces of hairs. Oh my god, wow! Let me just spend $20 on the exact same fucking story. Like no, I want to play for the like. There's certain games out there with the art style looks like relatively dog shit, but they look like it has its own type of design and it looks beautiful and plays beautiful. A good example of this is Silk Song, Hollow Knight, that type of universe where the art style is so simple of drawing figures, and you don't need new revolutionary gen consoles. You can probably play those games on like PS3s. They're not that demanding. Like this is like, well, I'm not sure, my knowledge is not that demanding. It's just like obstacles moving left. It's like a Metrovania. They're not very taxing compared to like Plant vs Zombies, Garden Warfare, the games I played. Those felt very taxing for the consoles rather than just 2D sprites moving back and forth with their own animations, right? So yeah, whatever.
The answer to stopping these price increases is one, in terms of the medical industry, demand price transparency. Of course, this isn't the only problem with the medical industry, but it is a major one that I think will significantly reduce prices. As for the tipping and the $9 coffees, we need to bring shaming culture back. This culture of extreme tolerance has had a lot of negative side effects. For example, being afraid to say that being fat is bad for you increases everyone's medical insurance premiums thanks to the Obama administration, as well as not shaming people for spending $28 on $4 of ice cream for the premium experience of polysorbate 80 and red 40 is making your life worse. Because if people pay $28 at Cold Stone, which is like 2.5 times the price of organic ice cream at the store, then Cold Stone is going to say, okay, well, let's see if we can get 31. It should cost you social value if you're one of those people who enables companies to price hike everything because you want to overspend instead of being responsible with your money. I've actually gotten rid of almost all my friends who constantly throw money away because being around such people affects my spending habits. And when it comes to rich people, really one of the most harmful things they can do is overspend because that inflates prices for everyone else. Last, when it comes to tipping, silently clicking no is not enough, because when you do that, statistically, the person behind you is just going to tip anyway, so the iPad question doesn't go away. You have to actually openly show your disgust for these companies trying to prey on guilt psychology. It's simple. The second they turn that screen around and say, it's going to ask you a little question, you say out loud, I'm not tipping. And for the people who are going to say, well, they're just employees, the company makes them say that. I don't care. They're still engaging in it. Stop having empathy for people who are trying to prey on you. If they don't want disgruntled customers, then they can be one of the hero employees who presses no tip for you. Also, for those who are afraid, if you can't say no to an iPad, then you are definitely letting people walk all over you in other areas of your life. It's time to practice standing up for yourself. By saying no out loud, you're not just saving 20% on your meal, but you're also empowering everyone else in line who hears you say it to say no as well. Because none of these people want to tip either, they're just caught in the scam. And I guarantee you that if just 1 in 10 people verbally says that they aren't tipping and gets mad, all of this shit will stop. If just 1 in 10 people is a ticking time bomb every time a screen is turned around, companies aren't going to want to deal with that. So it's time to start being more disagreeable for the betterment of yourself. Anyway, thanks for watching, follow me on Twitter, and I'll see you in the next video.
Think Before You Sleep is probably probably my second favorite YouTube channel of all time. I watch this guy religiously. Like, you look here, there, those two companies, this right here, this one, and this one, and this one I watched it like twice or 3 times for how good it was. And then you have this one, and I think it's kind of at the top of the board. But yeah, even here, yeah, full bars. This one was just fucking awful. Not like his video, but like the comments, not the commentary, the hiring of immigrants. That one was just so stupid. But like, I find this annoying where the subsidization of incompetent decisions is not allocated to the company itself to deal with it and figure out how can we make this quality on par with our other services or superior to other companies out there, so people choose us over them. It's, oh, maybe fucked up, okay, let's just throw this problem onto the consumers knowing they will just say yes to it. Like, it's because they can, and because people are willing to. Like for instance, like a good example I can think of right now is the new GTA game is coming out soon, in which people are willing to spend $100 on the new GTA game, and then spend what, $120 to get like base game features that should already be existing in the game. I understand if it's like a DLC, new content, like a major new content, like for instance like Elden Ring, but it's like base game features that should already be existing in the game. Like what, changing your, going to the barbershop or car mechanic store, that should have been base game like already. So the fact that like you had to pay for a premium version of the game for a base game feature, it just feels so stupid. It reminds me of as well as Assassin's Creed, not Valhalla, like the Japanese ones, the Chinese one, in which you can spend like I think $10 online to get the entire map unlocked early or something like that. It also reminded me of some like woke video of Skyrim, but woke, of that one where you can prepay for the game, or like Cardians BDSM skin, the cat people. It's the most like stupid thing ever. It's the most like, and the prices are like $80 to like $60 just for in-game skins. It's the most stupidest thing ever, but people are willing to indulge in these purchases. So which it's not just their fault, it's your fault. If you're engaging in this as well, you need to reevaluate many decisions you're making, and knowing that, talk to people about these decisions, and remove people in your lives who actively do these decisions. It's because these decisions are not only implemented in themselves, they also bleed in with you. These people will tell you, hey, let's go out and do certain things, and let's go celebrate, let's go for party night. Oh yeah, and sure, it sounds fun for the night, but then it's like once every week, and you find out each of the night costs $300 while you're like a broke student going to university or college, and you're currently accumulating lots of debt in the past, in the background you don't see until like 8 years from now, while your net income is slowly going close to zero every fucking day because you spend your entire week's paycheck on partying every week. So it's kind of like, what kind of lifestyle do you want to live? Because all these lifestyles just sound awful and like dangerous. But hey, that's what it is though. So